Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now, today we're at the village of Longparish in Hampshire. It's located about 4 miles east of Andover and 10 miles north of Winchester. And the village is made up of 4 hamlets: Middleton, East and West, Aston and Forton. And we're going to be walking a roughly 5-mile circular route, starting at Middleton and then going along the River Test to Forton, and then we'll head northwest to the outskirts of Harewood Forest before returning to the village. And hopefully we'll get to see some interesting things along the way. Now, I'm filming at the end of September. It's a glorious sunny morning, it really is. There's blue sky, hardly any clouds. It may well cloud over later on, but fingers crossed, it should be perfect conditions for walking. Do come along with us. Well, I've parked my car by the church, but before we head out into the countryside, let's have a little wander through the village itself. And we'll start at the sort of northeastern end. The name Longparish was first used in the mid-16th century, and it's derived from the nickname of the Long Parish of Middleton, which, well, as I mentioned earlier, consists of the 4 hamlets of Middleton, East and West, Aston and Forton. And it's absolutely brim full of quite gorgeous cottages and houses, and there's a lot of thatch, and so many of them in such beautiful condition and well presented. It really is a very, very pretty village. Well, say, starting at the northeastern end, you can probably see behind me the cricket pavilion. And it's the home of Longparish Cricket Club. And the club was founded in 1878. And it's reached the final of the National Village Cup at Lord's on 2 occasions, winning on their second appearance in 1987. So we'll have a little stroll along the main road that goes through the village in a sort of southwesterly direction, and we can keep our eyes peeled. A few interesting things to look at along the way. Oh wow, look at this, just by the side of the road, the Ashburn Rest. It's basically a wooden seat by a spring. I think it was provided originally by the vicar back in 1886, but it's been refurbished fairly recently. Isn't it beautiful? Are you going to inspect the well? I don't think that's quite dog dip material just yet. Oh gosh, look at this, just by the side of the road, an old grinding stone. I guess villagers can come here and sharpen their knives. Well, just before the crossroads, there's the old Methodist chapel, built in 1866, and it shows on an 1895 map. But it was sold in 1975 and converted to a private house. And isn't it lovely with the stream running in front of it? And this is the Plough Inn. Now, its website states that it dates back to 1721. And I was reading that it was closed in 2015 and sold to a developer, but it was saved when it became a community pub in 2021. I know it's closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, but as I'm filming on a Saturday, this may well be our final destination. And this is the Church of St Nicholas that was built in the 1170s, and the core of the present building still retains some of the 12th century structure. And it consists of a nave that has 4 baths, a north and south aisles, a 13th century chancel. The west tower was added in 1520. It's got a Victorian south porch, north vestry and north transept. There was a major restoration in the 1850s and again in 1958 and in the 1980s. I think it's got 6 bells. Okay, well, we'll have a little peep inside. Usual story, I can't find the lights, so I might have to put some photos up as well. But just by the door, we've got the font. And look at that stained glass window. I think one of the features of this church are some of the magnificent stained glass windows. Just as an example, just on the left here as you come in through the door, there's perhaps with your traditional stained glass window on the left, and a slightly unusual one on the right, very blue. There's the organ there with some splendid decorations. Wonderful. And more of these beautiful stained glass windows in the nave, and the pulpit on the left, not a wooden one, which is slightly different to some of the churches we've seen recently. And then looking down into the chancel, again, quite stunning stained glass window above the altar. And then just above the altar, some splendid, what looks like wooden panels in the roof there. What a beautiful church. Well, the churchyard was closed for burials in 1883, and a new cemetery was built on church land on the other side of the road just here. And indeed, it's right next to the village hall that was originally built as a church hall in 1910. Well, what a picturesque village. Right, well, we're going to now head out into the countryside, heading in a sort of southwesterly direction through meadows towards Forton, and we're going to be on the Test Way, which is the 44-mile long-distance path that starts at Walbury Hill in Berkshire, and we've been there and goes all the way to Ealing, near Southampton. And we're going to be parallel to the River Test itself. I'm not 100% sure how much of the river we will actually see. Well, as I said, I'm not sure whether we'll be able to see a great deal of the River Test, but in front of me here is a little feeder stream, and well, it very much looks like your typical Hampshire chalk stream, crystal clear with a sort of gravelly bottom. Really is quite enchanting. Well, we've made the short journey to Forton, so it looks like we're not going to see any of the River Test today, which is a shame because it's one of my favourite rivers, but we've seen plenty of it in the past. Now, Forton itself is full of beautiful cottages and houses, so we're going to enjoy our little wander through the settlement now. Oh, isn't that sweet? Thatched cottage, timber framed, white walls, roses outside, and even a little sort of water jug, milk jug by the front door. Just passing by this gorgeous thatched cottage, and there's a little pump outside, and well, the gentleman that owns the cottage has kindly said I could have a quick look. And you were saying you dug this out in the pandemic.
Yeah, we thought there was a well here.
Yeah.
It was just filled in with old bricks.
Yeah.
And as I lifted them out, I could see the wall of the well.
Yeah.
It's not very deep.
No.
But
because the river's not that far away, is it?
Right,
It's
the river's just over the other.
Yeah.
Over the other side of these buildings here. But you can take a tremendous amount of water out of it.
Brilliant.
So.
Oh, lovely.
Not to drink,
and I say your house looks quite exquisite. It really does. So thank you very much indeed.
That's right.
All right. Well, what a lovely chap. And what a gorgeous little village. It really is quite something. I don't want to leave. Well, we've now left Forton and crossed the B3048, which is the little road that goes through all the villages. And we're going to now start heading in a northerly direction. You can probably hear a very busy road in the background. That's the A303 dual carriageway. Oh, I've just spotted some deer as I'm crossing this field. I've just grabbed my Canon on the zoom lens, so I'm afraid the picture quality won't be very good. Difficult to keep it still, might be a bit hazy, but oh, what a lovely sight in the morning sunshine. I think it's a mum and two babies. I'm not 100% sure. Isn't that beautiful? Bit of wildlife. Well, looks like we've got a plethora of footpath signs here. Now this is where we leave the test way, and we need to take the footpath to the right. Well, a little update on the route. There's the field that we've just crossed. We've seen some deer in, and Forton in the background. And I'm just about to cross a track. I'm pretty sure this is the old disused railway line. It was the old Hurstbourne to Fullerton line. Basically, there was a 6-mile line opened by the London and South Western Railway in 1885, and it linked the London to Exeter line at Hurstbourne in the north with the Spratt and Winkle line, also known as the Andover to Redbridge line, at Fullerton Junction to the south. And there was a station at Forton called Longparish Station, which is now a private house. But the line was closed for passengers in 1931 and for freight in 1956. I think it was used for a while to store old wagons, but the track was removed completely in the 1960s. I tell you, it really is quite glorious now. So all that sort of wooded area on the left-hand side, that's the edge of Harewood Forest, which is one of the largest areas of woodland in Hampshire outside of the New Forest. It was a royal hunting forest in late Saxon times, and then again after the Norman conquest. So we will be heading into a part of the forest shortly. Right, another important part of the route. There's a handy little map here. So let's think where we are. Yeah, we've been coming along here. So we're there. So instead of going along that route, we're actually going to head northwards, get away from this dual carriageway, head up here, and then we're going to do a little detour. We want to look at something in the forest here, and then we'll go back and then head back to the village. Well, we better stop for some blackberries, I suppose. There are not many left, are there? You get any? Do you want me to pick some for you? Again, lots of them, but they're not very juicy. But as I say, we're coming to the end of the season now. Well, a little pit stop to take in some of these views. So we're heading along this little path that goes along the side of the field, and this is very much your typical Hampshire rolling countryside. There's almost an autumnal feel to things today. Well, now we're just a little bit away from that A303 dual carriageway. Very peaceful part of the walk now. So continuing along the side of this field, and when we get to the top of a tiny little ridge, that's when we're going to do a little detour. Well, I've now made it to a little road. I think it's called the Middle Way. Before we head back eastwards to the village, we're going to go westwards. A little bit of exploring to do, and I need to look out for a footpath that turns to the left off this road. So it doesn't look as though it's a busy road, which is good news. There we go. That's what we're looking for. So we should cross this footpath. Loads of, these handy little maps. So yeah, that's where we are now. So we need to just head in a dead straight line. Should be nice and easy. What a quite enchanting bit of forest. I should point out that either side of here is private land, but even so, it really is quite beautiful. It does remind me a bit of the New Forest. Logan's on squirrel alert, just keeping them on their toes, of course. Well, this little bit of area here is right on the edge of Pound Copse, and there are some earthworks in there, but unfortunately it looks as though it's all on private land, so I'm not going to be able to explore, but I'll tell you about it anyway. The earthworks cover about 2 acres. There's just a single bank and ditch. It's about 140 metres north to south and 100 metres east to west. And well, the ditch is about 14.5 metres wide. Was it an Iron Age hill fort? Well, it might have been, although it is very small. More likely it would have been a medieval stock enclosure. Well, I might not be able to show you those earthworks, but there is something we can see, a monument. And looks like there's a permissive path that we can follow. Well, you're certainly not going to get lost trying to find this monument because it's well signposted, that's for sure. And there it is, the DEADMAN'S PLACK monument. And it marks the supposed site where King Edgard killed his favourite courtier, Aethelwald, the Earl of East Anglia, in 963 AD. Why did the king kill Aethelwald? Well, the king originally had sent Aethelwald to meet a girl called Elfrida, the daughter of the Earl of Devonshire, to assess her as a suitability for a bride for the king. Well, as soon as Aethelwald met Elfrida, he was smitten by her beauty and secretly married her himself. But he reported back to the king, telling him that she wouldn't be suitable. Well, discovering the deception, Edgar invited Aethelwald out here for a spot of hunting and promptly killed him. The king went on to marry Elfrida. I don't think Elfrida was that keen on Aethelwald anyway. After King Edgar's death in 975 AD, Elfrida retired to nearby Werwell, where she founded a nunnery. The monument here was erected by a Colonel William Ironmonger, I think that's how you pronounce it, a local landowner, and he erected it here in 1825. The name DEADMAN'S PLACK probably derived from well, the corruption of Dudman's Plat. Dudman was a local resident here in 1735, and plat is another word for a plot of land. Fascinating story. Anyway, we're going to leave the monument and going to retrace our steps out of the forest, back onto that little quiet road, and start heading eastwards back towards the village. Well, We're now back on the road, Middleway I think it's called, heading eastwards. It's not a particularly busy road and there is quite a big grass verge anyway. Beginning to cloud over a little bit now, which was forecast. I think we've seen the best of the day, but we're very much on the homeward leg now. And either side of this road, some quite breathtaking views. This is just on the northern side of the road. I say all the crops have been harvested some weeks ago, so that's why the fields are looking fairly bare. This is where the road crosses the old disused railway line, fairly substantial bridge, and goodness me, that's quite a significant cutting down there, isn't it? Well, just on the other side, these are the old railway fencing posts, and if I just peer over the top, you hopefully can see the gully below where the track used to be, but shame we can't really see much of the bridge from here because of the trees. Well, shortly after crossing the old railway line, this is where we leave the road and join up with footpaths that will take us back to the village. Well, we've made it back to the village, our final destination, the Plough Inn, and we'll just pop inside just for research purposes for the video. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. We've had a super walk today, and what a superb ending with a pint of Saxon. Ooh, that's a bit of a bite to it, that one. Ooh. Oh, that's lovely. And of course, as is traditional, it's actually called Salty Dog. I don't think we've tried these before, have we? Yeah, a thumbs up from him. So until we meet again, thanks for watching, and cheerio.